Baby, we are back after a couple of weeks off. We're back and we're live on YouTube, so make sure you smash that like and subscribe button, guys. Okay, we want to get to 10,000.
I want a golden YouTube play button, as my son always says. I don't know what that means, but
a golden YouTube play button.
I don't know
Well, what you want to do is you want to video yourself playing Call of Duty, or alternatively, like, make some racist videos, and then you'll be right up. You'll be like, loads of people will watch you. It'll be fantastic. 10,000 views, 10,000 likes, whatever. I don't know what the deal is. But yeah, so welcome to the Grape live tasting. It's sensational summer whites time, and after the weather that we've had this week, this is the perfect tasting just to round it all off. Thanks very much, everybody, joining us at home and on the internet and on YouTube. I'm just saying in the preamble, for anybody that's watching us on YouTube, hey guys, hey, all of those people. I've just realised we haven't got the fucking influencer ring.
Oh well, since we're on YouTube, we should have that on.
Right? Yeah, we might have had 1,000 hours worth of content that's just sat on Facebook with all the boomers. We should be on YouTube. Anyway, Baz, talk us through this lineup of plays, because they are some absolute. You asked me what I'm looking forward to most. I'm going to throw that right back at you because I'm struggling to put my finger on what's going to be the best. The one thing I do know is that the Eroica, by the time we get there, it's going to be warm, and I'm going to be me about it.
I don't know. Well, I'm looking forward to all of them, which is a diplomatic answer, but I think number 3 is going to pique my interest the most.
The Pinot Gris from Sensational Finching the Tag, bro. Oh, are you, bro?
I think so. But yeah, fantastic lineup. All sensational summer whites as is the subject. We're going to start off with the Pfaffel Grüne Veltliner, something that has been a staple on our shelves for quite some time. It's gone for a little bit, but it's made a comeback.
Well, there's a reason behind that. The 2020 vintage or the 2019 vintage was no great shakes, if I remember correctly. It was a bit like it was a bit thin, and then we discovered Funkstiller, which was so textural. We're like, we don't need to have this greenery, but this is the 2021 vintage.
I'm excited to get stuck into that one, that's for sure. So to revisit a wine that we know and love very much, and see how it acts in the glass. We're going to be quickly following that up though by something that's relatively new to our shelves, the La Spinetta, which are Piemontese legends in the wine world, and these guys also have a little bit of acreage of vineyards in Tuscany.
That's nice, isn't it? Yeah, we dabble in Tuscany. We have a few acres in Tuscany. I was looking through the vineyards are really quite unique and are different from one another. For La Spinetta in Tuscany, little vineyards as well, mainly Sangiovese, but this is the Vermentino.
Yeah, so in Tuscany, you don't just find great Vermentino in Sardinia. Yeah, so that's really what it's known for. But Tuscany makes some fantastic, beautiful Vermentino as well.
Just look at us. Look, we're a proper couple of slapheads. You and me, aren't we? You've been bicking because I got this new like head shaver, like skull shaver thing. So I had one anyway, but I had one that's like and like doesn't, so it feels like a fucking dolphin. Which is I've got a day or two's worth of growth, so it's got a little sort of.
I've been picking it since 2020, man.
Picking it since 2020. Oh my god, raw dogging it with a bic, no shaving foam.
Oh no, you've got to have the foam, mate. It's like, oh.
So a Vermentino di Toscana, which might be the first time you guys have had a Tuscan Vermentino.
We've had some Solo Sole.
We have.
Yeah,
definitely. It is the kind of definitive Tuscan white grape variety. Sangiovese being the big red one. But most people, if they've had a Vermentino, they probably haven't had one. They might have had the RU Game sparkling Vermentino from Straya, or they might have had a Sardinian one. Cheap, delicious beach wine, isn't it? The next one after that, though, is one that you're particularly interested in. Which comes as no surprise. Pinot Gris is your jam.
Aromatic varietal, love drinking Pinot Gris, or Pinot Grigio even is slightly different, but yeah, this is a wine that hails from Central Tag, so relatively cool climate, which obviously Pinot Gris really likes.
From the screen sharing, oh my days, like wow, Central Otago wine country is It's blow your mind.
Shout out to Fitzy.
Oh, hey, bro.
He did a little vintage at our friends at Burn Cottage. So yeah, it's from the same region. Known for great Pinot Noir, but Pinot Gris is obviously a varietal that does incredibly well there as well. So
and we're finishing with a fan favorite. We're finishing with the big boy. 20 years they've been doing this now.
Since 1999.
20 years is the first. Dr. Ernst or Ernie Lucen has been collaborating with the guys at Chateau Saint Michel in Washington State to knock out the Eroica Riesling.
You know, they make an ice wine variety of that. And rosé. Oh my god.
And rosé as well.
Oh mate,
we've tried the Trockenbeeren Auslese, haven't we?
Yeah. And then the extra lees, extra dry, and there's plenty of great Riesling coming from this part of the world, and particularly by the guys at Chateau Saint Michel.
Now they've also got another one which I've seen, which is XLC.
Yeah, that's
which stands for Extended Lees Contact.
And dry.
And it's dry. Dry, is it? But it's just going to be like
I've tried it.
A weighty buy.
Great lineup.
I've got Haley waiting outside the Zoom room. What up, Haley? Welcome. You're gonna be on YouTube, mate. There we go. Yeah. How should everybody treat these wines? We've chilled the hell out of them, chilled them overnight.
We've literally only just taken them out of the fridge, so I suggest you do the same. These wines are all meant to be drank cold since the summer whites. You know, there has hardly been any oak aging in this whatsoever. Apart from one, there's a little bit of oak fermentation going on, which is number 3. But
we chose these wines because they were that light, bright, easy breezy. Kind of. We lean a lot into textural, big boy Chardis and Chennins and stuff like that. But there's a place for this kind of wine, and it's when it's this month, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. No, this is a perfect wine for the season. Absolutely.
Right. We are going to get absolutely crack-a-lacking. But looking at the people we've got, I mean, we should do.
It's our premiere on YouTube.
Our premiere YouTube.
We should do
what's up, metaverse? But considering, hello Haley, how you doing, considering that the how many tastings all of these bastards have done, if we did it, we'd probably then just disconnect. Like, oh, I can't listen to this shit again. But it is our first outing on YouTube.
It's our premiere on YouTube, so I think a quick
firstly, we've got like nearly full bottles here.
We can fix that.
The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to wamp a glass because it's hot. It's been a long week, and I'm hungover after going to Schofield last night.
Oh, is that what it is? Is that what the boat face was for today? Yeah. All makes sense.
I think boating with boat faces is when you've done double boats and you're exhausted. Anyway.
Tom pulled up in the car this morning and I saw some tablets on his passenger seat, so I looked what they were. They were Gaviscon. Good luck with that.
They definitely were. Right, okay, so grab your glasses, shake your asses, and let's go for wine number 1, the Fafel Gruner Veltliner. Now, Gruner is a kind of gateway wine for us, isn't it? If you want to get people off kind of basic bitch savvy B, you want to move them on to something that's maybe a little bit more, a little bit less kind of shouty fruits. And when we say basic bitch savvy B, we obviously are talking about New Zealand stuff. The French stuff is a lot more. I'm not going to say it's better, but it is a lot more.
It's a bit more subdued.
Yeah. A lot less.
Passion fruit.
Blah blah blah. Mango.
Elflash. Yeah, no, right.
Heaven Steve says we should do a separate video on our YouTube channel, which we are streaming on right now.
Hey, welcome YouTubers.
But Baz, do you want to dissect this wine?
Yeah, I would do a how to taste wine video thing. Okay, fine. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Gruner Veltliner, Austria's most planted white grape variety, super idiosyncratic, of course. It's a very food-friendly wine. Absolutely love great Gruner. Let's get under the skin of it and let's do the systematic approach to dissecting wine. So first we're going to observe the wine. We're going to spread out. Oh, actually, first we're going to put the playlist on. It's on Facebook. I've let Sarah put that together for us, so there might be some questionable tunes on there. I cannot take any responsibility for her choices of music. Oh, here we are on YouTube. Fantastic.
We're on YouTube.
How many views have we got? 0.
Well, tell you what we've got. Oh no, you got to sign in to like it.
Oh, okay, never mind. So, okay, systematic approach to breaking down a glass of wine. So, firstly, we're going to use our menus, wonderfully designed by our Grace. We'll be spreading the liquid out, and we're going to be looking through it from above. We're going to be looking for a few things. We're looking for the intensity of color. We're looking for the gradients. We're looking for effervescence in the wine, particularly with wines of peak acidity, which some of these are. And when they're young, they will have some little bubbles in the wine. Interessant.
For sure. This one's 2021, so you don't get much younger than this.
Yeah, you can see some bubbles in there. So that's not a frizzante or anything like that. It's just a peak acidity, and the wine is young. So like we always say, we're just looking at the liquid, and it's already telling a little bit of the story, what you're about to imbibe. Also looking for the gradients. Is there any discoloration in there? Could be an indicator of age or grape variety or winemaking. I'm also looking for the legs. And what are they specifically when you put your wine up to its perpendicular? Great word. Thank you, Tom, for teaching me that.
Well, look, it's been a hell of a journey.
It's been a hell of a journey. I've learned a new word.
Not bad for a second language.
It's specifically it's how the wine adheres to the inside of the glass and how these little rivulets, these little teardrops start forming, and how long it takes for them to descend back into the pool of the wine. A couple of things that manipulate that, which is grape variety, it's sugar content, and it's alcohol by volume. Now, for this Grüner Veltliner, I would say medium to slow, actually. So that's quite interesting. There might be some residual sugar in that wine.
At what point do they stop the old fermentation?
Well, since we're in
12.5,
in Northern Europe here, this is about as far as it can go over there. You know, if you've got a particularly hot vintage, you can probably get a couple more half degrees of
if
alcohol.
You know. Haley says, are we going with the goat's cheese first, or are we going rogue? No, mate, we start with the goat's cheese because goat's cheese and Grüner is live. So, yeah.
Goat's cheese and Grüner is live. Lots of things. You know what pairs really well with Grüner Veltliner?
Goat's cheese.
Schnitzel.
Schnitzel?
Yeah. Have you ever had a schnitzel?
Of course. I've had a Wiener Schnitzel in Wien.
Oh, they're good. Yeah. Beautiful.
Which I always got confused because I thought Wiener, like Wiener Schnitzel, I was like a wiener,
Wien means Vienna,
hot
my
dog
friend.
exactly.
Not to be mistaken by wine, which is the E and the I turned the other way around.
Goddamn Germans.
Which means wine. You know? There you go.
Goddamn Germans with their spelling.
So, what you get from Grüner Veltliner, Grüner means green, so you get a bit of a green fleck through the wine, a little bit of skin contact, a little bit of cryomaceration pre-fermentation on the wine.
Bit of cryomass, bit of cryomass.
A little bit of that green fleck goes through the wine, but it's still very relatively clear, pale lemon. Like I said, the legs are relatively thick for Grüner Veltliner. Do you have a little smell?
Yeah, indeed. So one thing which we've always found is that it's incredibly aromatic varietal. It's really generous on the nose. It gives you so much.
Back, baby. It smells really good. It's a little bit chalky.
I was going to say there is definitely some minerality. As you all know by now, minerality is what wine people say when they don't know what they need to say.
That's not true. That's not true.
Minerality.
It is a term that we love throwing around the room. That's for sure, because it makes it seem like, oh well, you know, we talk about minerality, like. But what minerality specifically means, it could be a couple of things. Two pieces of rock ground together, it gives a certain aroma. Also, I'm from the era where we still had chalkboards in school, and the naughty children, not me, the one next to me, had to clean out the erasers all the time.
Definitely bad.
Well, 100%. That chalkiness has also got an aroma. When you walk in down Drinkwater Park over here in sunny Prestwich, and there's a little stream.
What's up, YouTube? All of our millions of followers all around the world. There's another thing just down the road from us. It's called Drinkwater Park. Yeah.
Beautiful, or the cloth, and like little pebbles with a little stream. It's got an aroma. Petit core, which is something that we always harp on about on a hot day when it rains. We had that yesterday. It has got a certain aroma, and that's what we mean by minerality in white wine. Red wine's a little bit different, more like potting soil.
Okay, there you go. It definitely has that kind of stoniness to it, without wanting to be even more vague. Even though I can be, because it's my show.
It's stony. There you go.
It's stone.
One thing that you should be looking out for and try to find on the nose is pepperiness. Whether it be black pepper or white pepper, it's something that is really idiosyncratic.
Always, you said this numerous times. It is something that is very distinctive and of Grüner, but I can never pick it up. But what we're basically, only time will tell. What we're basically thinking is like the cheap pepper shakers that you get in sort of like greasy spoon cafes.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, okay. That's appetizer on the nose, both apple and fizzy from the Kurz.
Love it.
Haley says peach Melba because she's fancy like that.
I like that as well, Haley. I get that pepperiness right at the back end of the observing with the nose kind of experience, for lack of a better phrase. Appetize is that sort of like appley kind of vibe. It's I reckon this was a relatively.
For all of you that went for 100 mils. Watching us have glass after glass after glass.
That's him getting rid of that hangover.
Again, I don't know how many times we need to tell you.
It's peachy. There is almost like an emphasis on the nose. It's really hard to explain. You know, when you smell a drink that's sparkling, like apple ties, I know what you mean by that. There's a certain Goza kind of experience on the nose. If you was to smell in color or describe what you can smell in color, it would be green, right?
Yeah.
What is that called again?
It's called synesthesia.
Synesthesia. I'll get that word one day.
Sean is trolling us because she says it's I'd say more pebble than stone.
Pebble. Okay, that's fine. Don't forget about citrus on the nose. There's definitely a bit of white grapefruit there that I can detect.
Yeah, grapefruit is really the one, isn't it?
And taller house wine.
What does that mean?
It says it on the back of the bottle. Probably
taller house.
The taller house wine. Beautiful. Let's taste now, shall we? Shall we do a little clink? It's been a while.
Bros.
Live tasting.
Cheers, everybody.
Good fun, isn't it?
Here's the wine. Wine. That stoniness and minerality continues hard, man. It's the first thing I get, but it gives way then to stone fruit, so peach and apricot.
Really bright acidity.
There's a little bit of melon, like a sort of cantaloupe or honeydew melon. Like basically what I'm saying is not watermelon. Like I'm not a fancy man. It's just not watermelon. That's what I'm getting.
I'm with you. There's a touch of salinity on the finish for me.
Okay.
Quite layered. It's a really pleasant drinking experience.
It's definitely
really bright.
Says this is too drinkable.
So easy.
Sunshine danger wine. Hell yeah, that's exactly what this is.
How does it interact with the cheese? We always recommend to experience the finish of the wine. So after you swallow it, how does it linger? How does it transmogrify into different flavor profiles? Once that's calmed down, go for the cheese. Obviously, cheese is a massive disruptor. Loads of creamy compounds.
The creaminess and the denseness of that cheese is why we use it so often, because it is multi-talented. It can pair with anything, a big red or a light bright white, sparkling, fortified. It goes great with as well. But it's zingy and tangy, but it is so much more than the wine. Like that is not a delicate cheese, whereas this is quite a delicate wine. As a consequence, it just pummels that Gruner into submission. That acidity is not neutralized, but it's completely offset, and then all of a sudden you're into that fruitiness and that little bit of that texture and residual sugar that is just hanging about there.
Been eating a lot of flat peaches the last couple of weeks, and
flat peaches.
Yeah, you can get like little stubby little flat peaches in the supermarket at the moment.
That's just a peach you sat on.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah, what is that? A flat peach? It's delicious.
Has anybody ever had a fucking flat peach, guys, at home?
I have.
And in the metaverse.
And in YouTube. Like and subscribe, please. Hey, delicious drink.
It's never not going to be funny.
No, right. So, did you know that these guys are one of the finest producers in the whole of Austria? In fact, in 2016, these guys won quite an important award, which is Best European Winery.
Which, as you said it on Instagram, we're so all over this shit. YouTube, Instagram.
Oh, TikTok soon.
That probably is going to happen.
We should.
So
I don't know what it is though.
Think about can you get a more closely contested field than European Winemaker of the Year? You struggle to make just limit it to a single fucking country, and then you've got a dozen top tier A-grade winemaking countries: Spain, France, Italy. Oh, that's enough, right?
Yeah.
Right. Where do you go from there? But these guys won it in 2016, which is pretty mad.
And for good reason, they put that all over their bottle as well, just to make sure that we know about it. It's almost like they've got the Champions League trophy on it.
The champions.
It is, all jokes aside, it's an incredible achievement for winery from Austria, in my opinion. But it's for good measure, because these guys produce some really fantastic wine. My sister-in-law Vera, she went over to Austria a couple of years ago and brought me back their Riesling, which is not available over here in the UK. It was
wow.
These guys make about 19 different wines.
Direct from the cellar door.
Directly from the cellar door ish.
Okay, we are in Austria, the Niederösterreich, which Is Nieder? What does Nieder mean?
I would say
I would say
north.
North.
North Austria. That makes sense because it's in the north part of Austria, Tom.
Yeah, that would indeed. I would think I thought I was going to say east, but that's actually the name that they call it.
We say Noord in Dutch. So
Nieder,
North. Yeah,
the East Nation.
I'm going to say, pull that shit up, Joel.
Give it a goog. Give it a goog, JMO. But this is a really interesting thing here. Vienna is on the same latitude, the 48th parallel, as Burgundy, as Dijon in Burgundy, and then Quebec in Canada, and Everett in Washington. So this 48th parallel, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise that Austria can make great wine. This is it up here. Do you know which part is it? It's the Kamptal, this, isn't it?
No, this is it's near the village of Stettin, which is it's in and around Vienna. So they are right near and about the capital, which there's actually these guys got 110 hectares, but their home village is in Stettin. 10 villages where they actually get their raw material from, as in the food.
Super. So
look at that.
Accurate. A little bit more rolling, perhaps, than other parts of Germanic wine producing territories. A little bit more rolling, but still got some slopes going on there. We mentioned this numerous times, but just what's the difference between having a plot at the top and a plot at the bottom of the slope?
Well, you got the aspects going on here, right? So on the slope, if you go higher up, you only get the sun at a certain point, the valley floor. There's also better drainage in the bottom bit.
Better drainage at the bottom. Oh, yeah. Right, lovely. There's the same picture.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, I did that. That's working. So yeah, we're more super idiosyncratic and sort of very distinctive, beautiful Austrian vistas.
When you went to Austria, did you go and visit any vineyards?
No, I just went to Vienna, and then from Vienna, did I get like a night train? I think I got a night train
all aboard
to Salzburg.
Wow.
And my girl Holly is an avid skier, and they go skiing in Obergurgel, and they've been going for like a dozen years, and I've never skied. So what I've been told is I have until January to become proficient enough to skiing. So skiing with these motherfuckers in Austria on like their home patch they've been going to for 20 years, where she was like a professional ski instructor. Like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine. And I'm like, obviously, well, I'm a natural athlete, right? I'm a natural athlete. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be fine. I don't see that. I'll do it on the day, and I'll probably smash it. Do you know what I mean? I'll turn up, just throw on my salopettes and my skis, shoot down the mountain, drink a hot spiced blue wine, and get the girl. That's obviously how it's going to happen. But you know what actually is going to happen is that I'm going to be going down these fucking Austrian slopes, and I'm going to collapse, and my knee is going to explode and burst into flames.
I hope the
something like that.
I hope
right? It's just guareed.
Oh, you know what that is?
This is Mr. Pfaffel.
That's a Roman Pfaffel, which is current enologist and viticulturist and winemaker. So it is now run by siblings. So
there's Vienna.
Exactly.
Shit, it is closer.
So yeah, it's second generation. So it's a relatively young winery, particularly when we're talking about Europe, as in the old world. These guys started up in 1979. And they were farmers, but not particularly specializing in grape growing.
The wildflower.
Beautiful. Biodiversity. Super key. Sustainable practices here as well, which is harder in cool and wet climates, because obviously the amount of water that comes down can give you some disease pressure. So you have to really work on your canopy management to make sure that the wind blows all that sort of moisture out of the vineyard. But yes, 1979, their mum and dad started off farmers, but not particularly specializing in viticulture. They started dabbling in that, but did particularly well with it. And their son and daughter then took over. I was actually just listening to a podcast with Roman's sister, Heidi, of course.
Romain is actually a bit of a Frenchy name, so he's kind of gone to the dark side. But Heidi is not very French. This is the only thing more Germanic than Heidi is, of course, Helga.
Love a Helga, don't you?
We do love a Helga.
Yeah, so they now look after everything on the guarding eye of their father still, who's still involved in some aspects of the actual making of the wine. When it comes to the winemaking, they harvest the fruit and it gets completely destemmed. So if you think about a cluster of berries, the stems will have certain flavor compounds that might be desired or might not be desired. In this case, they take them away because you're going to get flavors of vegetableness, which kind of makes sense, right? You're also going to get bitterness. You get a tannin structure that you're going to pull out from those stems. And you're going to get like notes of green tea. So in this case, they take all the stems and remove them all in the destemming machine, which are two like rotating kind of, what do you call a rotor? Is that the right thing? Like a screw, like?
Yeah.
Two screws, like turning against each other, against the grain. Anti-clockwise, and whatever, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? One goes that way, the other one goes that way. So pulling all the stems, removing that from the fruit.
You can tell the reason why we have such a strong Utu following, can't you? We're so verbose and good with wordings.
Yeah, the words are so great. So after that, the berries get slightly crushed and the juice remains in skin contact in a cryo chamber for 4 hours. This will then
cryo chamber.
Pull aromatics out from that fruit, but also it will give the wine a lovely texture to it, and it will really get those aromatics going. A further press, and then the fermentation happens in stainless steel, which is a recurring theme in all these wines, apart from one, and there's partial oak fermentation happening as well. Stainless steel impairs little flavor or no flavor. You get steeliness. Yeah, that is a flavor. Obviously, oak will give the wine secondary, tertiary flavor compounds.
The reason why this is such a banging summer wine, right, is because they've sacrificed, not sacrificed. They've chosen to do away with any and all, the majority of the elements of winemaking that could remove from fruit purity. What this is all about is the fruity grapes, right? That's the vibe. That's the whole ballpark. The ball game.
Not taken away from any sort of like, you know, you're having to season it with vanilla compounds, and you know it's all about fruit purity, like you said. Yeah, really, really great wine. Lees aging as well to really sort of like, what that means is after the fermentation is finished, the yeast that started that fermentation, once all the sugars have been eaten, they die and turn into sediment. You can also make them go to sleep by temperature control, but in this case, they're fermented to bone dry. The yeast will die, turn into sediment, leave the liquid on that yeast, will mellow the wine out. It will calm down those
you so often find that with bright, particularly wines grown at altitude, or wines or grapes grown near to the ocean, where the temperature in the vineyard is significantly lower than others.
Cool climate, man.
You need that lees aging. So we said it numerous times: Albarino Sobrelias in Spain, or Muscadet Soli in France, or just lees aged is a crucial way of adding texture without. If you ferment it to bone dry, and you don't want to have residual sugar in there, but you want to have more texture. Pretty good. Barry's going off.
Because there's blue cheese on the taste today, and for those of you who don't know me, I despise blue cheese. So I got myself a little bit of Alpenblossom, which is a cheese that comes from Austria, actually, and is made with like caked in the local flowers that grow in the meadow where the cows graze. We're going on to wine number 2 then.
Wine number 2. It was a great way to start. I'm really glad that after whatever was, you know, that relatively underwhelming vintage, which kind of dropped it off our radar a couple of years ago. Because it was a couple of years ago. It was maybe 18 months ago. We had some in because it'd always been a favourite. It's a good price point. It's a really, really tasty wine. It's an attractive looking thing. We love Gruner. We get people onto Gruner as often as we possibly can. Yeah. We had that vintage, and it was just like,
particularly the Zweigel as well. That wasn't particularly.
But Zweigel
talking to me the way that it should have
off anyway.
I don't agree with that. I think Zweigel can be a glorious thing, but this one was really farmyardy, and that kind of put me off. And like you said, Funkstiller came in. It's a wine that we really know and love, and we kind of, you know, really made a really good start with that. But you know, I'm glad we've tried it again, because this is really, really speaking to me in a really, really good way. Very nice wine.
For sure. The Pfaffel Gruner Veltliner, I'm going to give that this is brand new. Just come up with this right now.
Oh, we're going to give it an 11 out of 10.
I'm going to give that a 7.
Ugh, that's 7. Way too low.
But no, right, here you go. Here you go. Right. You cut 7 is a really good score. It's a really, really good score.
Is it?
Yeah, a 10 is the best wine you've ever tried in your whole life.
And that's 11.
That's
11 out of 10, right? anyway.
Okay, wine number 2, La Spinetta, Vermentino di Toscana. As we mentioned in the chat earlier on, Vermentino, the predominant white grape variety in Tuscany. Tuscany, however, predominantly known because of its latitude and because of the
coastal influence.
Mainly known for reds, mainly known particularly for Sangiovese in the form of Brunello and Chianti and stuff like that. However, more recently known for the importation of foreign grape varieties, particularly French ones from Bordeaux, Super Tuscan. They haven't. Have they? I seem to remember having seen a Tuscan Savvy B. I think I've seen that somewhere, but they haven't really done the same thing with white wines that they have done with Super Tuscan. They haven't imported, you know. I imagine they probably have some Chardonnay, but
there is a white sun dry out there. Now the cepage I couldn't tell you on top of my head because we can't get that wine over here. But yeah, good for the Google. But yeah, man, Tuscany, like you said, is predominantly renowned for its Sangiovese production. Lots of it as well, and Chianti can sometimes be a little bit of a minefield. You know, there's some really great stuff out there. And funnily enough, you know, some of the best Chianti we've tasted was a declassified Chianti because it couldn't be called Chianti.
I had a bottle of that.
Which one?
Last night, the Fontaloro.
How did you?
Dancina Fontaloro. I had a bottle of that Hawksmoor last night, and it was super.
Yeah, I bet.
Insane.
I bet. Delicious wine. Yeah, but the white grape variety that you find in Tuscany is Vermentino. Now, La Spinetta is particularly a Piemontese producer. In fact, these guys were Moscato. How do you say perfectionists? This was like their speciality.
Right.
Moscato, particularly Cru Moscato, which is actually a thing. This is something that was made their bread and butter and that became so incredibly popular that they started to branch out, and they ended up in Tuscany as well, but some other little bits as well. Super interesting story to granddad and a nonna who started it all off. It's now third generation.
Of course.
Beautiful story. There's some really, really great pictures that I've seen online. Yeah, I'm excited about these wines. I've got a bottle of their Barbaresco laying down in my rack, which I've had for a couple of years now.
Trying to get that acidity to fucking fall off.
So, I'll probably drink it in 40 years. Yeah, I'm still like, probably hand it down to my children now.
Right, let's have a little crack at this, shall we? Very excited. A little bit. Is it deeper than the Gruner?
It's less green. It's more yellow.
Yeah.
I would say this is still relatively clear pale lemon. The outer lines are relatively translucent. There's no little bits of bubbles that I'm observing that I did see in the first wine. Or have you got something?
Yeah, no, I do. And it also, you know, that it popped a little bit when it opened.
No, not got your glasses on now.
Okay.
The legs are quicker in this case than the previous one, but they're still, I would say, relatively medium.
Yeah, they are. Whammy, see you later. A bit more restrained on the nose.
A bit. Very restrained on the nose. This could arguably have been swapped around, I would say. This is really leaning on the minerality. It's, again, a term I love to throw around, but fruit, I'm struggling to detect it. What are you guys thinking at home? Would love to.
I got a little bit of apple, a little bit.
Yeah, I get like lemon rind, but not very zesty. You know what I mean? It's like there is lemon rind, but you know, like when you've bartender in this, yeah. So you know when you've zested a martini with a beautiful peel of lemon, and then after that, all the zest is gone, but it's still got a little bit of a lemony smell, like that. That's how it smells. Started lemon zest.
Barry used to make drinks now.
I used to make drinks real well, you know, back in the day. I'll just talk about it. Right. There is a little bit of herbaceousness now that I've gone back and revisited the glass. Now that I'm sort of like acclimatized to it a little bit more. Mediterranean herbs. Yeah. So think maybe a little bit of rosemary, think maybe a little bit of thyme. Thyme is probably, it's more close to thyme because rosemary for me is really savory. Thyme can sometimes be a little bit more of that sort of like citrusy aromatic kind of variety, depending on what kind of thyme it is. I've got a lot of time for that.
We're releasing our comedy special on YouTube. I hope we're going to be able to sell it to Netflix.
Yeah.
Haley Jackson says that you're a goddamn liar, and she's getting more rosemary than anything else.
Oh, really? Okay.
She's saying that you're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about, and it's rosemary.
Okay.
Who did you shag to get your WSET?
Fucking hell.
There we go.
She's been aggressive.
She's brutal. She is brutal.
Gave me lip earlier as well.
She's had a wine.
Telling me to breathe and all that. It's like my watch tells me that. You know, don't need it from you as well.
Get grief off your kids, your phone, your watch, your missus, and Haley Jackson as well.
From all angles. Thank you. It's a bit of a confectionery note as well. Reminds me of a boiled sweet, like a hard boiled.
No, it's sherbet.
Sherbet. You know, I remember me and my folks. We used to go on holidays, but with the car, because I'm from the Netherlands and you can just drive to France. No, you can do it here as well, but well, not really though. You know, you can just drive there in Holland, and it doesn't take so long. You don't have to take the underwater bridge for the tunnel and the hovercraft, and the submarine or whatever you guys do over there.
The hovercraft.
But yeah, I remember just my dad, you know, because I used to talk a lot, and I still do. But yeah, used to give me a ball sweet. When I was my mum, she would say, "See how long you can suck on it, you know, without saying anything." Like pretty much. Okay, mum.
Let's play
that game again. It's like, Mum, I'm done. Let's play that game again.
Let's play a game of who can be the quietest, the longest.
There was like a little metal tin, had loads of little fruit on drawn on them, like still life
powdered sugars.
Powdered sugar. That's the one.
That's total dad / granddad fodder, that man, big time.
You don't have those sweets in here in England, mate. I've seen them.
We do.
I've seen them.
Right?
I've lived there 17 years.
In a gold, like a goldy tin.
It was slightly off gold.
Fucking hate this guy. So I think it maybe should have gone before the Bruno. I don't know. It seems like it's
very light.
It is very light indeed. Do you know what's not light?
What?
Tuscany.
Hey, let's go.
There we go. So to think that Tuscany is one homogeneous area is definitely not the case. There's plenty of coastal stuff. I mean, if you're thinking about Bulgari and Super Tuscans, all around this kind of region, the coastal influence is absolutely vital. But once you come inland, it gets tall quite quickly. There's a lot of high ground in Tuscany, and I'm going there.
Are you going?
Yeah, I'm going. Arriving into Bologna, then go to Florence, bounce around a load of places, go somewhere on the coast, and then back out from Rome. It's going to be dead nice. There we go. This is the most famous road in Tuscany. Do you think with these cypress trees, these pines? Probably.
I want to go away, man. I've not been so long.
So, what's this mountain range here? There's some seriously high ground in Tuscany.
Particularly Brunello, a little bit further south and more inland in Tuscany, is particularly hilly. Some of the Brunello parts are relatively high.
There was snow-top mountains.
Oh, I didn't see that. Wow. Oh.
Wow. Legit. That's
Photoshop, man.
Photoshop. Beautiful Tuscany.
Yeah, a little bit of morning fog. Oh,
spectacular. Grape's going on tour, do you reckon?
Yeah.
Cool. I heard that fucking noise before.
When we going?
I put that picture again because I liked it that much.
So hey, these guys they were established in the 1960s, right? By the grandmother and nonna Giuseppe Rivetti, which is the guy.
Yeah,
that's correct. And his wife Lydia. They are expert farmers, and they hail from Piedmont. So, particularly if you've got Piedmont, obviously Barolo, Barbaresco, and Barbera, particularly from Alba, and Dolcetto. They're all varietals that are really, really sort of like famous for that region. But if you go a little bit more towards the east side of the country, got Asti. And what grows in Asti? And Moscato. So this is how these guys started off, growing incredible Moscato. The first single cruise Moscatos in the world, 1985, that expanded into red wines. So they went a little bit more towards Piedmont, particularly invested in some land, growing some Barbera, doing really great with that. This is sort of like a proper success story. Really started off really humble, small production, doing really well with that. Okay, well, it's time to grow then. Maybe we start doing some red wine. So they started making some Barbera and grew further into Barbaresco. Do you know Contratto?
Yes.
Sparkling wine. And all the posters and stuff that we've got, these guys actually own that. They purchased this this business in, I think it was the year 2000, Barolo, and then later on their journey they also invested into Tuscany, because obviously Sassicaia and Marchesio Antinori.
It seems to be something that if you're a successful winemaker anywhere in northern Italy where you're getting prestige money, so you're Amarone and Barolo kind of territory, and you're making some coin. If you've got a bit of coin left over, you are investing in Tuscany.
Yeah, where you're going to invest it? Well, we've seen it before with the guys at Allegrini. Our friends at Allegrini set up a winery over there. Well, that's just an estate that they bought in Brunello. Their super Tuscan Bulgari is Poggio al Tessero, famous for the Il Seggio, Sondraia, the Dedicato e Walter, which was dedicated to a brother that sadly passed away when they started up that journey. Gaia, famous Piemontese Barolo producers. They've also invested in land in Tuscany on the Macari, I think, the label that they produced.
Macari, yeah.
Unbelievable wines. But yeah, it is the right thing to do, because it's a relatively new, well, not new now, but back when this first became a thing, people straight away started seeing these wines coming from this region, producing excellent wines, flogging it for quite expensive as well. So it's like, hey, this is an opportunity.
Yeah, I guess prior to the explosion in popularity of super Tuscans, Tuscany was Chianti, right?
Yes.
Raffia base bottles, big bulbous boys, pizza and pasta, and you're not going to get rich off that unless you're making loads of it. Now there were pockets, particularly around Montalcino, where the cheese this time, I think, is the Gruyere.
That's what we're eating anyway.
Around Montalcino, you always be making Brunello, the Montalcino, and then you could be charging some pretty good whack for it, but probably still not at top end Barolo, Amarone territory. All of a sudden, super Tuscans, whether it's Antinori boys or whether it's Sassicaia or whatever, these are now selling for the most the most
shoulder to shoulder with Barolo and Amarone,
and then some. Sassicaias don't go for less than 300, do they?
It's because it's the prestige of the brand as well. It's a similar thing to when you're looking at champagne and some of the prestige cuvées, or name any name, but the ones like one's dressed up as one of them. Those are the prestige labels, and they go for more money. Is the wine is good? Well, I don't know. I'm yet to taste Sassicaia though, so look me up. What's up?
Hey, let's go out to all of our YouTube fans, guys. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button, and maybe hook us up with some Sassicaia, and we'll taste that on video.
I've got
let us know in the comments what you'd like to see us taste next time.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, I like that. Do you want to do a little tomcam on the label? Because I've got a little story about it. The label was created by a German artist in 1515, Albrecht Dürer. And so it's all about the rhinoceros. So can you believe that drawing is from 1515? Super beautiful, and it literally is a figure on every single bottle of their wines. And
see,
really
from looking at this looks like an Asian rhinoceros. Like you'd find on the continent of Asia, as opposed to an African rhinoceros.
What's the difference?
Well, that's an Asian one.
What's the difference between an Asian one and?
It's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit stubbier. It's a little bit more like rotund. There's a like.
Are you making this up, or is this real?
No.
Okay.
I'll give it a Google.
Right. Tell you a little bit about a winemaker. So it's 100% Vermentino. What you get in Tuscany is relatively sandy and mineral soils, which reflects in the flavor profile of the wine. Vineyards are particularly situated in Terricchiola, which we didn't see on that map, but if you can do the little Google what that is as well, that'd be great. Still fermentation again, but this time these guys are all about wild yeast fermentation, sustainable practices throughout their operation as well. Wild yeast gives a stretched out sort of like fermentation, takes a little bit longer. You're going to get more flavor actually being pulled out from the raw material. 3 months on the lees as well, because Vermentino can sometimes be a little bit peak acidity. It's like the ultimate sunshine wine, isn't it? Like you said, beach wine. Is that what you called it earlier? Quite like that. Vermentino is that sort of like, think about this. It's almost like the Albarino of Italy for me.
There we go.
It is like a little bit subdued, citrusy, it's mineral. It's got a little bit of salinity on there. think this with crustacean food, shellfish, absolutely fantastic. There's an Albino and oyster tasting coming on, and I've just put the feelers out for the oyster supply. I cannot wait for that tasting because that's some of my favorite stuff to put together. Nice ice cold Albino and a lovely oyster with a lovely little thing on it, like maybe some pickled red onion and something like that.
Well, we've got
hot sauce.
Yeah, it's all on there. We've got all the pairings already up there. So one's going to be red wine vinegar and shallots.
Yeah, man.
One's like
I was sure doing
wasabi and something else.
Cucumber, I think I said. Or does it say apple?
Pickly cucumber.
I did a pairing, so it's going to be great. Don't worry about it. Can't remember because it was so long ago. But yeah, no, that's going to be a great tasting. So that's in store only, by the way. So if you guys fancy hooking onto that, I will be.
Yeah, if you want to scoop some snot out of the shell.
Don't listen to him, man. That's not what oysters are.
Swallow it without chewing.
That's not how it goes, man. You need to chew an oyster because it's not snotty at all. It's actually it's got a nice crunch to it, particularly when they're really fresh, mate. It's amazing. Why don't you open your mind a little bit? Hey? Hey, I'm not mad at that. Nice. Really green now on the nose as well. That herbaceousness really shines through. I love it.
Right, okay. So
hey, now I'm looking forward to this. Are we moving on to the next one? Are you guys ready to move on?
Are you guys ready? Because we're moving on. It's moving on up. Right, Peregrine, Pinot Gris. These guys knock out some pretty good stuff. They're Mohua, and is it Momo as well, or is that Saracen?
That's Saracen. This is
the Mohua Pinot Noir and this Pinot Gris. Do they do all of their winemaking in Central Otago?
Yes, correct. Thanks. They've got a massive estate winery. It's a similar story to Burn-Gott's actually, where they, before they plant anything, they cure the soil by having goats roaming in there, eating all the weeds away, and they plant rotating crops to really sort of like prime the soil for then grape matter to go into it, which is really super forward thinking. That's really story that we have with most New Zealand wineries, right? They're really looking after themselves.
Yeah, whether it's Yale's with the
name one that doesn't work.
Their country's biggest solar power plant on their winery.
Yes. How's that but I've never tasted this, so I'm just excited. So these guys work towards organic practices, but they take it a step further for me. This is sort of almost leaning into biodynamic practices for me. All that sort of like, if you take something away from the land, you need to give back to it. That's what these guys are all on about. Yeah, amazing. Relatively young winery. 1998, these guys started. Let's have a little go then. Shall we dissect it?
Let's go, baby.
Relatively uniformed to the previous wines as well. I would say this has got less color than the previous two.
Definitely. Yeah.
Paler, still a yellow hue.
So Pinot Gris and Pinot Grigio, the same?
Yeah, DNA structure, yes, but over all the years, over all the separation of years, it's become its own thing almost.
They both is Grigio
it's great, yeah.
The Italian
because it's not a great grape though. There's one in the aromatic downstairs now in the Pressfit shop, which is it's almost like like a white Zinfandel color, like deep red. That's from skin contact. There's no red wine been blended into that, or red grapes lend themselves to the coloration of that wine. It's a pink, slightly pinkish grape. Remember the Pinot Gris that we did from Japan? Remember that?
The Koshu.
Yeah, remember that image, the Gris de Gris, with all those like pink berries everywhere. Almost doesn't look like grapes. It's incredible. But yeah, this berries that is really unique and producing some really aromatic flavor profiles. Really champions itself in cool climates. So Alsace, you find some great Pinot Gris. You find some great Pinot Gris in parts of Italy, particularly in Alto Adige and Trentino, in the northern parts, sort of bordering on Austria. And obviously the cooler parts of New Zealand as well. So we're talking here, Central Otago, some of the coolest parts for viticulture to happen. Yeah, really excited.
I guess the most southerly latitudes that anyone's making any wine.
Yeah, well, where else would you be? Maybe Chile in southern parts, but there's not really much going on there.
Also, it can be confusing in the same way as that image earlier on that showed that Vienna was on the same level as Burgundy, Dijon, and at the same level as Niagara, and at the same level as Washington, because of the way the globe is, and because of how that the map
flat, right?
The map doesn't. Yeah, pretty much. The map doesn't.
That'll make for good content. It's flat.
Yeah, the Earth is flat. Prove me wrong. We've done our research.
Roast me.
We've done our research. Do we have to say something about COVID and vaccines?
No,
so that we get flagged.
Oh, I saw a good one today. Well, it'll come to me. It was something like, you know, when you change the letters around, it was something else. Oh, what was it now? It was so stupid. It was amazing.
So Haley's trolling us again because she said she's getting raspberry leaf, which is not a fucking thing, Haley Jackson.
Okay, let's dissect. It is a thing. It is. No, it is a thing. So no, but think of shrubs of berries, right? So think
like raspberry leaf tea.
No. Think when you're picking raspberries, when you're picking blackberries and blackcurrants, the leaves, they've got a certain aroma profile.
Absolutely. I'm just taking the piss out
of it. Oh, okay. I am with you, Haley. I am with you.
Bread Notes, a little yeasty, says Lars. Heather Stephen, the naughties called and want their wine back, not in a bad way. Sean, no dunk. And she feels the need to broadcast that as well. Bread dough and damp pine needles. Oof, I'll tell you what.
It's a little bit sophistication.
So I like that dough call.
So where you guys are getting this from? So this has been, and I'm actually incredibly impressed by you guys, and it's obviously because I've taught you. You know, it's fine, but it's got to do with
why are you not impressed by me?
It's partially barrel fermented, so we're picking that up. That's kudos to all of you guys. Well done. Yeah. So partially barrel fermented, which gives the wine an extra layer of complexity. That's why I was so much looking forward to this. I think this was going to be the one that would probably challenge my taste buds the most. I think it's a bit more of a thinking wine. I don't know. I can smell perfume now. I'm having a stroke.
Maybe.
It's not me.
I'm taking your pulse.
Okay. All right.
Barry is just about to die.
On camera.
Helen said pine air freshener rather than actual pine.
Yeah, I'm echoing that. So
I just got something confectioners.
So it's like a bit resinous. You know, like juniper berries, you know, that's like that oily bit, you know, when you break one open and you smell it, that sort of pine note, that's something that I can find in this as well. Got a lovely texture to the wine as well. You can already see that this has got a real lovely mouthfeel to the wine because it's a little bit thicker.
Oh, yeah. It's actually the highest ABV so far, nearly 14%. 13.8%.
Is that wine? So I had something really similar recently. So I don't know what tasting it was on, but the Man of War Grape Stone. Relatively similar in compounds on the nose. It had a similar properties, which was actually also from New Zealand, from Waiheke Island. Very good wine. I'm going to drink it now. Can we? You're already way out of me.
Bros.
Contact. Oh, mid palate is really rounded.
Yeah,
sort of like biting into a peach. Oh, it's got a little bit of florality as well. It's not really necessarily detected on the nose. I think it's more subdued on the nose because of the decision of actually partially fermenting it in barrel, leaving it on the lees. Those bready notes really overtake, but it's almost like it's got a good Gewürztraminer vibe.
Oh, see, that's dangerous chat around you, Buzz.
The right amount of Gewürztraminer in this, none. Well, I had a revelation last week when we did Susanna Barbo, which fits in nicely with the wines we had here. If you weren't on tasting, you absolutely missed out. It's one of my favorite producers of new wines that I've tried this year. Incredibly excited. The barrel fermented Torontos, and I absolutely despise Torontos because it's so super floral. I've only had entry level stuff, which is just not very good. Yeah. This young lady, she specializes in that. She ferments it in barrel, and it's, oh my god, so good. Heather, you'll thank me for that later when you came in earlier. And I said, she looked at this. Oh, this is nice. Like, I have the Torontos, please. It's amazing. Yeah, there's a little bit of a florality vibe on the palate, which is a little bit unusual. Really, really nice. Textured, almost oily. Reminds me a bit of a Viognier. Reminds me a bit of a Chenin Blanc. Similar properties texture-wise. Do you agree?
Yeah, okay, I'll go along with that.
You don't have to go along. You can just say, yes, Barry, you're right.
The thing which is interesting is the extra booze on there. Because it's an extra 2 to 2.5%.
Are we on it?
13.8.
0.8. Unusual.
Yeah, really strange. But it is, considering what the area that it's grown in central Otago around Queenstown, that's at altitude. It even says wines with altitude on the back of the bottle. So to be able to get,
say altitude.
Altitude.
Does that? Where? Oh.
Yeah.
It's not really green and vegetable on the nose. Sorry to interrupt, but it's like pea shoots. Me and Harry, we grow peas unsuccessfully, but we got to a shoot.
And grapes unsuccessfully.
No, the vines are alive. That's a success for me. There's no fruit, but the pea shoot. We get to the shoot and I'm like, yay! And then, it's died.
Every time.
But the last 2 vintages, let's put it that way, right?
It's gone.
And we did really well with what did we do really well with? Oh yeah, we planted a blackcurrant bush, I guess, last year, and I got 1 blackcurrant on there. What's that? 1 whole one. Bet is eaten now by some sort of
bird.
Shit bird. Yeah.
Bastard bird.
Of my green fingers. Let's go back to that.
So Shani Shan says, I like this. It's herby in a good way. It feels thick. Which must be missed a trick for our YouTube audience, because instead of writing thick with THICC, she did the classic boring THICK. Ugh.
Thick. As in like the inside. Okay.
Lale says this is heavier than I'd have thought.
Yeah,
Pinot Gris.
I agree.
I've only ever had ones from Alsace. No, absolutely. But then the Pinot Gris that Mr. Kevin Dunn knocked out down at the old Grey Wacky in Marlborough.
Really, really textured.
Also thick textured and a little bit sweet, a little bit of a sweeter bay.
This is also very, very commonly used in these parts of the world as a component in an aromatic blend called PGR. So Pinot Gris, or sometimes even Pinot Blanc, Gewürztraminer and Riesling. 3 incredible aromatic varieties. Blend them together expertly, get the best out of each varietal. For me, blending is always something that's really intrigued me, because it really shows the skill of the winemaker. Really put that together.
Absolutely. We are in Luzon, down here in central Otago. So you see what we're saying about some of the most southerly wine making parts of the world. Normally you can get sucked into to Marlborough or Martinborough or Waiheke Island or stuff like that up there. But Central Otago is particularly well known for
Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir, which is particularly impressive when you consider the altitude and the temperature down here. The Southern Alps come up the spine of the South Islands here. It acts as a barrier to the winds coming off the Antarctic. Protects them, but they are at altitude. In the summer, in Queenstown, which is the big city just there, super kind of like adventure sports, bruh.
Is that where you went?
Oh yeah, bruh.
Is that where you go?
Yeah. Like bungee jumping and jet boating and fucking abseiling and all of that kind of like
kite skiing,
kite
cricket,
surf skiing and jet
flip cricket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's good. Did you beat the Dutch recently?
We did beat the Dutch convincingly with the highest one-day international score ever. Barry was.
Well, how many OPIs were there?
It was 2040.
Oh, can you imagine the runs on that?
Triple double overhead city wicket.
Did they hit it with the square bit or the round side?
With the circular bit on the end, so they jabbed it.
Oh, mate,
for 6 every time.
That's my signature move.
Yeah, exactly. So in Queenstown, it can get hot in the summer,
Oh, yeah.
But there's a reason why it's like the adventure sports capital of the world. Why? Because it's got snowboarding and ski slopes all around the place, and crazy hikes and all the rest of it. It's we're proper up in there.
I want to go. I want to go and see Fitzy at some point in my life. I don't know when this is going to happen.
You
probably. Yeah.
Oh, you bro.
I'll go and see him.
But the proximity.
Oh my God! Look at
that's pretty spectacular, isn't it? I love the fact you can see the clearly defined snow line, where like above it snow will settle and not melt. Below it, the temperature has fallen and has risen enough so that the snow melts. That's fascinating.
That's a surreal picture now. Almost looks photoshopped.
Yeah, isn't it? I think this might be Lake Wakatipu, which is and these therefore making these rocks the Remarkables, which is the most Antipodean way of naming things. Make a joke about it, like this bay, this seal is anyway.
Yeah, honestly.
But yeah. Winter is still winter. In fact, winter is like winter, but more wintry.
Are those vines in winter? Look, they're not happening anywhere. It just looks like sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Is there loads of netting over there to protect the fruit?
stop it from falling? Is that so you have a longer hang time?
I reckon,
and then it doesn't fall and bounce.
I reckon with this wine to get to this kind of ABV, you kind of have to. And there's also some residual sugar in this wine, which is quite unique. I didn't expect this wine to taste like this. Very, very different to what I was expecting.
Central Otago is
very good.
It's some pretty spectacular wine country. How about that?
Well, Central Otago is kind of known for its organic practices, you know, and that's kind of something that I really want to talk about here with this wine, if you don't mind. A little bit about the actual company. So Peregrine started off in 1998. The McLaughlin family. Lindsay, who's himself as the proprietor, owner, and manager, he's engaged every step of the winemaking aspect in the winery. Organic fruit. There's so much leaning into organic and slightly partial biodynamic winemaking techniques that is worth mentioning what actually happens in particularly in the vineyards. Nadine Cross, who's been the winemaker for 2010, who's done vintages in France, Australia, in Marlborough. So she's traveled all over the world. We've seen an awful lot with winemakers when they travel from southern to northern hemisphere, because you're continuously in work. Obviously, the seasons are completely polar opposite, which means you can do one in the southern hemisphere. When one side is finished, you can travel to the north part and do a vintage there, which is it's done the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I guess that doesn't really make sense, because you want to fill your year, but there's going to be a great deal of time where you can't, if you're a farmer growing a seasonal crop like this, you can't do fuck all.
No, exactly. Yeah. You know? Apart from making the wine, you know, that's when you start working in the actual winery, I guess, for a little bit. Before then the land comes back to life. So what you see an awful lot in New Zealand, and particularly some of the wineries that I've studied on in Central Otago, is when they prime the soil, which is something that's really fascinating to me. So when they choose a segment of land to start planting vines there, they prime it there for years prior to actually the vine matter going into the soil, which is, think about how much work that is, you know. It's really thinking about producing the best glass of wine that you actually can, rather than say, yeah, it's planted there and you know, young vines, and we'll get some yield in 3 years, and let's press it and let's make some wishy-washy shit wine out of it. Yeah. And this is really sort of like looking into getting the best product in the glass as possible, which I really love. So land gets cleared by goats. So any sort of like bits rose hip and other like damaging weeds gets cleared, which are like quite harsh.
And then the goats boop boop to give nutrients.
They prime the soil. The planting
which does mean that they shit on it.
Well, yeah, but that's fine. It gives nutrients to the soil and it makes your wine taste better. So don't be worried about the manure. They're planting beneficial crops also to prime the soil, which are rotating constantly before then the vine matter actually makes it into there. And then the goats come into play. So the goats got a role to play as well. So pre-harvest, they eat away any sort of like harmful weeds and grass, and then they come back in after the harvest is completed. So after the growing cycle is done, they'll try to keep the goats away from them because they do love to eat fruit, of course, for obvious reasons. But after that is finished, the harvest, the precious fruit has been collected. The goats then get back led into the vineyard and clean everything up as well. And then also like a poop of thyme, like a choo-choos, and that will then prime the soil even further. There's also, they've got sheep grazing, they've got chickens, which the eggs they use for fining in this case as well. So fining happens with egg whites. It's relatively common. Don't be afraid of it. You won't taste it, but it does make the wine non-vegan though in this case.
Yes.
So think about it when
actually, technically, because they've used goats, the super strict vegans will say that that goat has been exploited and therefore animals,
okay, the real vegans are there. Yeah. Like OG diehard Moby ones. See Moby.
Wow. Yeah. He's a slaphead like us.
Wow, he's crazy, mate. He's probably a bit. Yeah, so when it comes to finding wine, so think about it. You know, when you want a wine to become crystal clear, you need to actually find the juice and filter it. So filtering can do a couple of things. It can actually take flavor away, which is obviously not a great thing. The best way to filter wine to preserve as much flavor is gravity racking and chilling the actual juice, which means that it compacts, which means that it's easily racks off the solid matter. Because if you squeeze a grape, you're not just going to squeeze juice from a grape, right? You're going to squeeze solid matter, so the fruit, you're going to have little pips, little seeds, little skins. All of that stuff is heavier than the juice.
And when you press like a grape, you're not just press it. You're not just left with juice on your finger, right?
No.
You're left with residue. You're depending on the grape's skin color, you might end up actually with a bit of color on your skin. You know, it's all very transferable.
Absolutely, but it's to separate the liquid matter from the solid matter, with it still being clear. they use fining materials. So it could be benzene, which is a type of rock. You could use fish guts, which is a little bit unpleasant if you ask me. But egg whites is a really common thing that has been used. And these hens and chickens that I've got on the farm, they actually use those eggs to feed the family, as they call it, the family of people that pick the fruits, that make the wine, that look after the vineyards. All those people get fed by those eggs, not just eggs. I'm sure that's not their whole diet, but
just raw eggs.
But it's all. But you know what I mean? It's all looking at like one big sort of like working farm, and everything that gets produced gets used, and I quite like that. I think that's a really great thing. The winery is relatively state of the art. Have you got a picture of that? Okay, great.
No.
It's really, really super modern, and it reflects the wingspan of a peregrine falcon, hence the name Peregrine Wines. This was built in 2003. When it comes to winemaking, certified organic, leaning onto biodynamic practices. 70% of the fruits. So, Peregrine Winery. That's what you're looking for, love. Hungover any certified organic fruit. Like I said, 70% coming from their estate, 30% coming from trusted growers. Cool fermentation, so the lower the temperature, the less cooked flavor profile you're going to get. So yeah, I was hoping you was going to get that in the screen share. 20% gets fermented in barrel in old French large format casks. It's super wow, isn't it? Is everybody seeing that? Yeah, awesome. 3 months on the lees as well.
Oh, look at that one. That's like futuristic.
I love it. You seen that show, Futurama? That's the winery. Delicious.
Very delicious. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
Really like roast petal on the nose. Now that's do a little bit. I'm used to it. It's been in the room. Yeah, a fan.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. I'll put that as pretty good. Pretty good.
Now we're gonna go for the amazing lukewarm Riesling. Let's go.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. If you have, I hope you guys have chilled it more than we have, or kept it chilled. Oh, still delicious.
Oh, Riesling. Come on. When's the last time we've done a Riesling on a tasting?
Yeah,
I have been
we've
looking
actually
forward to this all
got
day.
a Riesling tasting coming up, and
have we?
A lot of you.
When?
A lot of you will have. It's the day of our birthday party in Prestwich.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Riesling tasting in
Ramsbottom. Oh, okay.
And it's going to be Grace's first tasting. She's going to be doing it her damn self, all on her own self.
Oh, because I'm here partying.
Because we're going to be here getting fucking twisted and be like, hi. And she was like, so because it's her first one, I was like, look, so it's 6 weeks away. We've got plenty of time to prepare for it.
She's already prepped it fully.
Yeah, she really has as well.
So no sleep.
Let's do something that you want to do, right? So not red wine, because she doesn't know much about red wine, because she doesn't drink a lot of red wine yet. She will. But she's super into aromatic wines. She's like, well, can we do something on Riesling? And I was like, babe, you better believe we fucking can. Yes. You're bringing Riesling back. Yeah. And we're doing it with, in partnership with Zumuku Sushi from across the way in Ramsbottom. A Riesling and sushi tasting. And you're not going to be in Prestwich. Get onto that one. Otherwise, be in Prestwich.
Come to the birthday party.
It's our thing. Tasting that is, I think it's 50 quid a head.
Is it? Let's go.
Yeah, it's because
what we drinking?
Like five like Penger's wines. But then we're also going to be it's going to be bottomless fizz floating about. You know, we're going to be getting absolutely on it. So.
Wasn't our birthday this month?
Yeah, but
we did well then. Let's dissect this one.
There was a reason for it. Right. Okay. So bit deeper in colour. Probably
guys. It's a shot to Saint Michel Leroy. Let's go. My God, this was my favorite wine for a long, long time, and I've not had this for a long, long time, which is sacrilege. I'm so glad it's and new vintage, something that I've not tried before. Let's fucking go.
But this is as most of you know, this is the collaboration between Chateau Saint Michel in Washington State and Dr. Ernie Lucen from Deutschland.
One of my heroes, man.
Mr. Riesling himself.
Dr. Riesling.
Doctor.
He's a doctor, yeah, mate.
The Riesling doctor?
He's a doctor.
Dr. Lucen.
Dr. Lucen. Dr. Ernie Lucen.
Dr. Ernie Lucen.
He's brilliant. Love him. It's like one on my bucket list, you know. I want to be Arnie Schwarzenegger and Ernie Lucen.
Heather seems to say smells like fresh trainers, rubbery. Haley says key lime pie. Sean says petrol, but probably cheaper than petrol at the minute.
Topical.
Satire. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. And lime cordial of Heather and Stephen as well.
Oh, that lime is getting echoed. I like that a lot. Hey, I'm getting lots of buble in my glass, which means like nice and young. I'm getting a little bit more color. There's probably a green fleck here.
It tastes young. This is the oldest wine that we're tasting today. It's 2019.
It's so young, dude. Only 3 years old for white wine. It's not that old. Particularly a wine of peak acidity, particularly something like a Riesling. Those aroma profiles that will subdue over time. Also, with the acidity will subdue over time, which means that the air bubbles will. Are you drinking, eating a whole slab of really badly cut blue cheese? Because I grabbed whatever was there. He's like, oh yeah, it's a blue cheese. It's black sticks that you guys are having. I don't know what you're having. It's some sort of blue stuff. And it was an offcut, so I gave it to him because I've got Alpine Blossom. I'm echoing those.
Really well with the Riesling.
I bet. I'm not going to try it though. I'm echoing the rubberiness. I like to say balloons. Like blow up the balloon, Jeff, put like a bit of water in it, maybe some wheat and throw it to people.
Let's be honest, Baz. You don't like to say balloons, do you? You like to say
condomen.
Condomen.
Ja. Tina, was kostet die Kondome? 3,99. Nein, 2,99. Sie sind in Sommer gebaut.
Yeah, no, I get it. I just wonder whether our burgeoning YouTube audience will
probably not. Well, Google that advert because it's hilarious. Why don't you pull that stuff up?
I'm going to.
Right, whilst he's googling that, let's take the wine any further. So, looking beyond the inorganic notes, there's some peachiness. There is a 100% like a citrus appeal. You guys are all shouting lime. I'm gonna go mandarin. A bit of a sweeter citrus I'm gonna get, but you know, lime absolutely fine. Mineral, absolutely quartzy. No, it's German. Yeah, you got it. Just put Tina was kostet die Kondome. It will definitely come up.
I did. I find it. It's here.
I've not seen this in years. I'm lying. I've showed this recently. I don't even know. Wine tasting.
Well, this could get us demonetized on YouTube.
Oh, is it already? First video. Fantastic. Oh yeah, there we go. Maybe pause.
All right, let's have.
You know that meme when you hear the sound of your own voice and you see the barfing. Yeah, that's me.
Oh God.
You lost it. Lost everything, have you? It's not a good
Und 2,34. Danke, schönes Wochenende. Tina, was kosten die Kondome?
3,99. Nein, 2,99. Die sind im Sonderangebot.
Tschüss.
Look at his fucking bandana, man. Jesus. Tell you what, he is living the dream. Tina!
Yes.
But the little blonde medicine was so fine. I didn't realize that she knew the price of the condoms. No,
no, it's fine. Anyway.
Yeah. Lime cordial and gooseberries. What are we getting?
Wine coolers and gooseberries.
Lime cordial and gooseberries.
Wow. You know what? I was going to piss on camera, innit? What's all taste? Oh, why didn't we not start with that? did that second and third and fourth.
So what you're suggesting here is we should have just done an Eroica tasting. Let us know in the comments, guys. Like and smash that like and subscribe. Let us know in the comments if we should just do an Eroica tasting.
Oh my God.
But I mean, do you feel like? So for those of you who don't remember,
it's making me emotional.
We did an International Riesling Day tasting in 2020.
Yeah, it completely put us off Riesling forever, right?
And we did 6 Rieslings. We were like, let's fucking go! And we did it all the way from Trocken all the way through to
Ice wine.
Yeah. And
You've never touched a glass of Riesling since.
Immediately went, no more. Like we just weren't into it anymore. I was like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. And all those fucking flints down at fucking Alex Bradford and that got Riesling down and tattoos. And then we were like, no, I'm over that. I think I'm over Riesling, mate.
I'm not that. I'm not that. Oh, this is really, really speaking to me right now. This has got.
Shout out to Alex Bradford and the Riesling gang.
Oh. Yeah, where do I start with this? So
I don't know, but start somewhere.
Okay, I'm trying. On the nose, really inorganic, but then on the palate, it is like a fruit salad of deliciousness. Wow,
that's only going to make the blooper reel for our YouTube best of roundup.
Usually that's outtakes, Tom. This was live, so but anyway, very good. Yeah, where do I start?
Guys, I'll be honest with you. Anything can happen on live TV.
Anything can happen. Super bright acidity at the first, then there's lovely residual sugar, syrupy deliciousness. Mid palate is full of that stone fruit. Yes, please stop me up. Stone fruit, nectarine, peach, apricot, flat peaches.
Flat peaches is
a
thing. So I sank mine maybe 2 minutes ago, minute and a half ago. I'm still tasting it like I've just swallowed it. The finish is lingering. Before everybody starts flooding the GC with the old emojis and then taking the mickey out. They're my glasses. If I want to smash every glass in this fucking
don't, because they're my glasses also. Don't stop being so. It's funny though. We all had a laugh. Oh, there you go. You guys did. I am just having to invest in more glasses.
It was these are extra glasses from upstairs.
Yeah, they're fine. Smash more, mate. Yamas. Water. No, don't stop. I'm not going to be honest, I don't particularly like the smell of it. It's not fruity enough, but then on the palate, it's like, oh my God, everything I want in a glass of wine right now after a long day. Slightly want it colder, but that's, and because we've been doing this for what, 3.5 hours or whatever.
Everybody else feels like it's 3.5 hours, but for you and me, it's just a blink of an eye.
Oh man, that is a delicious drop of wine, isn't it?
Have a little look at where it's from and how it's made. So we are in Washington State, in the very northwestern tip of USA. Now, this was a real eye-opener when we did a sort of meet the maker type session, producer spotlight type session on Chateau Saint Michel, where we had your boy, whose name escapes me now because it was.
I was just going to ask you, do you remember his name? Was it Grape? Was it Grape?
8.5 years ago.
Was it Grape?
An English guy working for
lovely dude.
Lovely dude. Really, really nice guy. Knew his fucking onions as well.
He went for Penfolds, didn't he?
I don't know. But we laboring under the misapprehension that Washington State is like Seattle in coastal and wet, whereas what he then informed us is over here you got the
Cascade Mountains.
The Cascade Mountain range is there.
I remember.
Once you get over that, the Puget Sound, and this is there's Seattle, there's where it's really wet and all the rest of it. Once you get over this high ground, it is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles. What's that? That's
acres.
That's 100 miles. It's it must be 350 miles worth of flat, dry vibes, and it can do anything that it puts its mind to. The Columbia Valley is enormous. Drops down into Oregon as an AWA. American winemaking area. The fact they call it an area is just really basic. And the American wine growing area. It's just so like, that's like they ran out of energy, didn't they? It's not an appellation, it's not a region. It's like
appellation d'origine contrôlée.
Denomination d'origine controlata y garantita. It's an American winemaking area. But it's super versatile. It can do whatever the hell you want it to, from Rieslings through to Cabernets through to Syrahs, which the fact they grow in the same place is fucking wild when you think about it.
Correct. It's all about when you harvest, though, huh? Think about that. You know.
But there are 13 appellations within Washington State, 750 wineries, most vineyards planted in the 1970s. Second largest wine producer in the US, which I presume is Chateau Michel.
Correct. I've got some real good knowledge on this. Do you want me to just do it? Right?
Can do shortly.
You're just messing up, stumbling through it.
I'm not stumbling through anything. I'm absolutely coding. So this is a funny place. It's called Walla Walla.
I like Snipes Mountain.
Wenatchee.
Wesley Snipes Mountain.
Ephrata. Snipes Mountain. Stuff.
Okay, yeah, whatever, man.
There we go. But yeah, high ground and then hot. Like, look at that. This is obviously
day and night, man. The way that looks, that's right. That looks like a cool climate. That looks like a desertified hot climate.
This is crazy. The same fucking state.
Crazy.
That is just mayhem, isn't it? Really.
But yeah, it's as big as Europe. It's ridiculous, right?
It's 350 miles across. So I mean, realistically, that's what is it? It's probably about
size of France.
About half the size of France. Yeah, right.
Pretty big.
This is an image that we've used before because it just gives you the impression of just how big and flat.
What's the lake called? Freedom Lake.
Freedom Lake. Yeah, most likely. Yeah, or named after I don't know
some sort of president.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just, but not even one specific one. It's like we'll call it President's Lake. All right. Okay. Great. Good one, guys.
I love America.
Look at that. That's
for our YouTube.
Yeah. To all of our followers over in the United States, thanks very much, guys. Make sure
love
you
your wine. Love your wine. Like and subscribe, please. What is that? Got one back. It looks like Star Wars.
It doesn't. Over at AT&T.
Nah, that's in Winterland. This is more like the Sand People, isn't it? Coming out. Yeah. Oh, we have fun with this, don't we? Right.
It's the same. That is the same state as that.
Okay.
The fuck is going on, man? Out of bipolar.
It's Eddie.
Was ist los, mein Herr? Das ist der Endschlussen.
Dorman's techno. Yeah. Okay. Don't know what we're doing now.
There he is, and he loosened himself. And there he is in super serious mode, talking Riesling with the man from Chateau Saint-Michel.
That's Bob.
Let me tell you something about your Riesling. It is the Puppe-Scheiße. In my country, we make the best Riesling you ever heard in your life. You need to calm or just burn it onto the ground. Your Riesling, it insults me. Oh, we're friends.
No, that's not. I'm definitely not how the conversation went. He was like, I actually really appreciate what you're doing over here. Tell you what, why don't we do a collaboration? Because I think you and I can tickle each other.
Not going to do a German accent, mate. You're not allowed to do an Ernie Lucen.
Can't do it, man. Dutch.
That's a pretty mistake, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll fucking kick the shit out of it in a second. So Chateau Saint-Michel, a producer that we've known and loved for a long time. One of the biggest producers in the United States of Americana.
For me, one of the biggest heartbreaks of the last 2 years has been
not being able to get it.
Not being able to get that Columbia Valley Cabernet is just mental. It's just so good and so reasonable. It's probably not now. It's probably £8 more expensive. Like everything is. It fucking makes me so furious.
We used to sell it for 19 quid.
We do. Whenever we get new products in, we check the prices on our whatever to make sure we're selling it right. Because at the minute, something we buy it 1 week and buy it the next week, and it can cost us £4 or £5 more to get in. And it's just, how can you keep up with that shit? It's just mayhem. But it would still be Chateau Saint-Michel still sits in the wow, I can't believe it is that affordable for the quality.
Their dry, sort of like on their Chateau label, dry Riesling is still under £20. It's still a fantastic Riesling. The founders of Columbia Valley, if you like, 1912, they built the estate by lumber. Baron Frederick Stimson was the proprietor. Okay. He built the first property on the estate. Now, they didn't start planting Dinitus vinifera, like you said, 1970s. These guys were a little bit before, 1967. Now, 72, they started expanding, started producing some good wine. And they were predominantly grown for other people at this point, though. They're not really on their own label just yet. In 1972, they expanded. The Coal Creek Vineyard and the Canoe Ridge Vineyard that came a little bit later on. They started to expand their land. 1976. This is I find it quite amusing because they really wanted to have the stature of French wines, because particularly in the 1970s, French wines were like top tier, right?
Yeah.
So they built a French-style chateau on their property and named it Chateau Saint-Michel to sound French and to look French. However, the wines that they actually produce in this region are absolutely phenomenal, and they've always have been.
And again, just the thing which blows my mind is how varied it is. Absolutely crazy to me that you can have Riesling growing next to Chardonnay, growing next to
German
Syrah, growing next to Cabernet, growing next
Rhone
to
varieties, German varieties. Hence the span of the area. It's got loads of different meso microclimates that you can grow all these different grape varieties. It makes it really, really interesting, and for good reason. These guys have picked up accolade after accolade. 18 wines in the top 100 wines of wine enthusiasts, which is nearly 20%. Wow, that's an incredible achievement. Think about it. The wines in the world, that's incredible. These guys produce 8 million bottles of Riesling a year.
These are the second biggest winemakers in the States.
Yeah, and the number one Riesling producers in the world. These guys produce more Riesling than German wineries. It's incredible.
Is there a big market for young Riesling in America?
There is, man. So I don't know if you guys, some of you might have had both expressions, because we have stocked them both. So they do 3 Rieslings that we can actually get hold of here in the UK, which is the Eroica, which is their top level one. This retails at around 35, probably now 40 pounds or something ridiculous.
Probably 84 pounds.
And whatever. But they also do the 2 with the Chateau on the label. Most of you guys that are on the station will know it.
There's one which is clear, so it looks straw. And
that's the dry one, which is still off dry.
Smoky glass.
Yeah, like green glass, like these bottles. And that is the one that they sell the most of in the States, which is their normal Riesling, but that's super sweet. For me, that's too sweet. It's all kind of overtakes the flavor, the delicate flavors that I really like the Riesling. But yeah, it's mind blowing, isn't it? That's like, when you think of Riesling, you think of where? Germany. Exactly. You don't think of America. These are the biggest Riesling producers in the world. Number 1 selling Riesling in the world, I should say. So the Eroica is a collaboration, like we already said, with Ernie Lucen, who comes and collaborates. Ernie. Because we're on first name terms now, so I can call him Ernie. It's a luxury Riesling, let's be honest. This is not the run of the mill sort of like bottom end one. This is layered. It's got incredible complexity. It's got loads of different flavor profiles whispering at you when you're really dissecting the wine. It's got minerality. It's got a little bit of that lovely citrus. It's got preserved lemon. It's got mid palate full of stone fruit. It's a finish to die for. What a wine! Absolutely adore this.
Fantastic. So what?
It's too warm though. Not happy with the temperature, but it's still delicious.
It's one of those things that the warmer your wine is, the sweeter your wine is, the colder you must serve it. And I've been sat there for an hour and a half, so it's not a cold day, is it? So right, that wraps up the tasting really quite neatly. Here is actually a more difficult question than I thought we were going to ask.
My favorite wine that I was saying in the pre-tasting is actually not my favorite wine today. In fact, it's come third. I'm going to go 1, 4, 3. So, okay, then I'll have to change it. So
Haley's gone 1, 4, 3 as well.
Right. So the Grüner wins.
Grüner.
Well, what does everybody else say?
Right. Now, here's the fucking caveat. If they'd all been the right temperature, was the Grüner the best because it was the right temperature?
Yes.
It could very well have been the case.
Yeah. Anyway.
Heather and Stephen, 4, 1, 3, both of them. Which is not.
I'm not mad at that.
That poor Valentino, just getting relegated there. I
reckon it's going to.
Haley says my number 4 was straight out of the fridge. Good girl, Haley. Well done. I'm proud of you. Paula was 4-3-2, so a little bit of vibe there for the. Lale was 4-1-2. Well, actually, she was.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm just so upset that mine's too warm. In fact, I'm going to decant that back in the bottle and chill this the hell down and then have a glass of it. Nah, this is good stuff, man. This is real good.
I love it tasting. Good to be back in the saddle. Sorry for the ring rust in certain aspects of this, guys.
What are we gonna do next live?
So I believe the next live one, we've rearranged the barbecue wines one to the 8th.
Red wines one.
The barbecue the 8th of July, I believe.
So we're back in 2 weeks.
So that will be
the day after the Albarino oysters.
Weeks.
2-1 tasters for Barry and probably one in Randy.
It's really hard, but 3-4-1.
You prefer the Pinot Gris? I was disappointed in that. It's too
once you get extra points just for the price. Yeah, I mean, that is something you probably do to take into account.
Yeah, no, I do like that.
We do on a regular basis. So barbecue wines was which we're going to do for my back garden.
I'm not coming, mate.
Or your back garden.
Nah, you're not coming to my garden.
We have to barbecue.
Oh, okay.
And we have to.
Just have one here, mate. You're fine. Open the windows. I can't open.
It's just super fucking smoky. Barbecue wine,
just throughout the tasting, just got smokier and smokier, like
something like that. Something like that, like
funny,
like a desperate.
Funny about a glass of wine.
So that's on the 8th, Friday the 8th, and then we've then got I'll tell you what, this one is going to be.
The Planeta one.
The Planeta Producer Spotlight. So,
shall we try and get someone from the winery on board, because I know someone that represents them that lives in the UK.
Well, I mean, it's Italy, so it has
to be from Italy.
It's Sicily, so it should be a pesto di merda, a piece of peas. It should be really good. So
let's get someone involved then.
Planeta is the 22nd, so 2 weeks after the 8th, 22nd, so pretty much a month from now. The thing that's really exciting about that is that we've got the wines that we're doing. Right, so from memory, we're not going down the the kind of Planeta things that we always do. We're going to try the Chardonnay, of course, because it's outrageous.
Iconic.
But the Terebinto Griot, then the Chardonnay, then the Eruzione.
Oh, mate, is that the Nerello? That's so good.
So good.
Oh my god.
And then we're going for the Verdesi Cabernet. So
that's not something I've tried Cabernet, before. Is that because I threw my ear and had a strop and then started kicking off? It's like, I want it. The Cabernet. It was really expensive. It's like Barry. Can't do that. It's too expensive.
I'm not gonna lie. This is a £39 tasting, so these are legit.
But you guys all got a GTG.
No. Sorry, that's £39 for the bonus bottle. The 100ml taste is 30.
Bargain.
So it's still not nothing. But we'll also have a bonus bottle of the Metodo Classico.
Oh, I'll try that in ages.
Caricante, sparkling Caricante.
Yeah, it's nice.
On the slopes of Etna. So those are two really, really good tasting. What's on the barbecue one? Can you remember? Because it's the rescheduled barbecue one.
Surely this is
Banging barbecue wines. It's 4-1. Our goddamn YouTube audience will be furious. Absolutely furious. No, you've actually copped it.
Have I? No, we're still moving.
Seinheiser. Oh, willkommen! Wow, hello everybody.
Sorry,
okay,
it was me.
So the banging barbecue one. There's no review up for it. There's no chat up for it.
Get it done then.
Good job, Tom. Good job. We also need to decide what we're doing in August.
Is that really working? Are you sure?
Sean said, just discovered I'm already booked on the Planeta one. Yes, you are, and you've gone for the bonus bottle as well, Sean. So
thank you, Sean.
So just discovered it. I'm already booked on. That's
awesome.
Like if you guys didn't like. Our business would go under. If you guys actually kept tabs on how much money you spent with us, fucking hell. Some really good holidays you guys have missed out on by hanging around with us of a fucking evening, you losers. Listen, we love you and we will see you in person or online again soon.
It's lovely seeing some of you this week.
Heather and Stephen, we calculated it during lockdown. That's why you stopped booking on, because you were like, fuck! We've got the top 10. We've got the top 10.
Have we?
Yeah. I can show that afterwards. Let's just say.
Right, you know what I'm gonna do?
Hello, guys. How are you going? We're gonna chill it down and bugger off. Right.
Thank you so much.
Guys, thank you. I won't tell you, Hayley. I won't tell you. Right, listen, we're gonna fuck off. You guys should do the same. Enjoy the balmy, warm evening that's currently going on out there.
It's nice, man. You know what? Just before chilled reading. Let's go.
Chilled reading. We'll see you guys on the next one soon. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button.
Make sure you share it to your friends on YouTube and whatever.
Let us know in the comments what we should. Bye.